Hello and welcome into Pat's Latest. I'm your host, Mike Gambardella, and while the likes of Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper still remain unsigned in the NFL, today we have an undrafted free agent episode and take a look at the top four candidates that could actually well, signed by Robert Kraft, but could crack the Patriots' 53-man roster in 2025. Before we get into it, make sure you go down and subscribe for our channel. Get into the comments and let us know which undrafted free agent signing you are impressed by, or perhaps which other free agent signing the Patriots actually should be after. Make sure you give us a like if you like what you hear, and go back and check out all of our other episodes to get caught up on everything Patriots. We start looking at these top four guys with someone that has potentially one of the coldest YouTube highlight reels out there in UC Davis running back Lan Larrison. We talked briefly about him immediately after the draft because of things like that, where this is a guy that could have easily transferred to a Power 5 conference, chose not to do so, stayed at UC Davis with the Aggies, and completely ran roughshod over that conference. He is, to me, a prototype player for Josh McDaniels, looking for that third down back to come in and do a little bit of everything, especially catching out of the backfield, pass protection, but just a guy you really want to get out in space. And you're going to see and hear a lot of comparisons to former Patriots, but Rex Burkhead and even Danny Woodhead, I think he's probably a little bit bigger, more in that Burkhead mold, but a guy that is going to show shades of that, and not just because he's wearing Burkhead's old number 34 as well. Lan Larrison, he set a school record with 2,387 all-purpose yards last season. Yeah, that's not a career, that in college. That is just last season. He's quick but not fast as a ball carrier. He's not going to blow anyone away, but he did run a 4.540. So not the 4.443s like wow speed, but serviceable. And as a running back, you don't really need that home run hitter ability, especially if you're playing kind of with that twitchiness that you're looking for. Again, his agility scores were through the roof coming out, especially for a running back with 6.39 3-cone drill, which puts him at 72nd percentile, and a 4.21 short shuttle at 66 as well. Again, it's not the testing numbers, more so that what he's able to do on the football field, and that's what kept him from being a draftee to an undrafted signing. But again, I think with Mike Vrabel and a new staff in tow, this is absolutely a player that could wow, that could make a big impression, that could go out and compete on special teams and find his way into that running back room for Josh McDaniels. The next it up is Favon Chisum III. A great football name, right? Another name that he will be often compared to is Cooper Kupp, and maybe not for the exact one-to-one matchup, putting the numbers and size by side, but more for what he did because he excuse me, broke Cooper Kupp's records at Eastern Washington, setting an FCS record with a catch in 53 straight games. Chisum likely would have been selected in the NFL draft again if it weren't for his 40 time. He clocked in a 4.71 40, which really took him off the board for the majority of teams. Again, much like Larrison, his agility testing is off the charts, and I think for Chisum, absolutely setting into that slot wide receiver role. And I'm sure a lot of people will say, well, yeah, Julian Edelman, right? All over again. I think this is very much a different type of player, but for me, someone more similar to the University of Miami standout Xavier Restrepo, who is one of the best wide receivers in college football last year. Again, much like Chisum, went undrafted because of a slow 40 time. Restrepo gets actually picked up by the Tennessee Titans, reuniting with Cam Ward in Tennessee. But for Chisum, again, that 23-year-old elite agility, 6.77s in the 3-cone puts him almost 80 percentile. 4.06, excuse me, the short shuttle was actually 87 percentile. Again, very similar for Larrison and Chisum, guys who are not fast by the definition of what a 40 time is, but quick players, fluid players, guys that pop, guys that are consistent and come down and make contested catches. So these two guys are at the top of the list of, can they come in, can they compete, and can they beat somebody out? I think at the back end of what the Patriots have at their running back position, Lan Larrison absolutely could sneak in as that, fourth running back. Chisum will have a more difficult spot because the wide receiver room is more crowded than it has been in recent years. But with a new coaching staff and no ties outside of essentially draftees, so having Kyle Williams there, Matt Collins is a free agent signing, Stefan Diggs, anybody else is essentially fair game, and everyone comes in for the clean slate. Additionally, looking over at the tight end position and Alabama standout CJ Dupri, and he was somebody who was on most boards in the 5th or 6th round. So a little surprising that he did not get drafted, especially with a number of tight ends coming off the NFL draft board. He is a pro-ready player with the frame, size, and blocking ability to step in as a starter from that regard. The reason he did not get drafted was because at Alabama, they did not throw to the tight ends. It just wasn't part of what their offense was. But that doesn't stop the projections and seeing what he was able to do. Is a small smattering of that. But again, when he's not used as a pass catcher, it's tough to make a case to draft this person when other players are on the board. But again, the same thing with Larrison and Chisum, a guy who is a super athlete. Dane Brugler of The Athletic named him, quote unquote, the beast because of his athletic scores, an 8.71 raw athletic score. And actually, believe it or not, he had faster 40 time than Efton Chisum did at 4.69. So this is a tight end who dwarfs Chisum and has the speed to beat him essentially in a foot race. That's the type of thing you want to see when projecting out a roster. And while the Patriots have their number 1 and 2 spots locked down with Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry there, Jaheim Bell, who was the draft pick late last year, along with Jack Westover, there's going to be an open competition for the three of these guys to potentially make or earn that tight end 3 spot. Also, there is a possibility that Mike Vrabel only chooses to carry two tight ends instead of 3, and the way that would go is because of this last player we'd like to feature. Again, there's 16 undrafted free agents, so a lot of different guys with a lot of opportunity. For me, these are the guys, top 4, that have a chance to really crack that roster and have the talent to make an impact as well. But for me, Jack Connley, and continuing the BC Patriots pipeline with Bill O'Brien, and not only because Connley has a ton of versatility as a tackle and a guard. He logged over 250 snaps at Boston College, but he also has the ability to be in those heavy sets, if you will, come in as the blocking tight end and play that role and actually catch a couple extra passes. So if Mike Vrabel decides I want an extra lineman on this roster, because left guard to me is a wide open competition, and if Jack Connley can come in there and show versatility, can actually back up a spot, not going to say that he's going to win it as an undrafted free agent, but come in and show that, hey, I can back up tackle, I can back up guard at a spot that is kind of open, that I can be your heavy set tackle or receiving tight end in those jumbo sets. That spells very well for a guy that, is a really strong blocker and plays with strength. He has that anchor to, match up well on the interior. I think it would be a stretch to say he would be feasible at the right tackle spot at the next level. But again, he is somebody I wouldn't put it past to find a way to make onto this roster, to make a good impression with the coaching staff here, and find a way to make the Patriots really start to think, hey, how are we constructing this 53 at the end of the day? And not an easy thing to do with 91 players currently under contract. Typically it is 90, but 91 with the International Pathway program getting an extra player onto the roster right now, with the Patriots doing their rookie mini camp this past week and weekend. It's an exciting time for the Patriots to figure out who's going to step up, who's going to make this roster. Obviously, there's a ton more talent than there has been in at least the past couple of years, so a tougher path for these undrafted free agents. But every single year, there is at least one player that does end up making the 53. Expect it to be one of these four on that side as well. But I think at the end of the day, there is real opportunity because of the scenario where the New England Patriots are in. When you have a new head coach come in, there are no allegiances, there are no holdovers. That we see it very plainly with all of the captains essentially from last year's team not being brought back. If the captains are gone, that means there's a lot of backup spots, special team spots, and potential starting spots up for grabs for the New England Patriots. And again, that competition breeds more competitiveness, breeds play on the field, breeds winning. And that's exactly what Mike Vrabel is looking for at the end of the day. That'll do it for us on this episode of Pat's Latest. Again, make sure you go down and subscribe for the channel. Get in the comments and let us know if there's a person on the undrafted free agent list that you think could actually be the standout of this class and make this 53-man roster. Make sure you give us a like. Go back and check out all the other episodes to make sure you know everything going on with the Patriots before we flip to almost the middle of May here. So football coming up on us very soon, and we're ready for that. But make sure you keep up to tab and up to date on everything going on. We'll continue to have it all for you here on Pat's Latest. Fight on, Foxborough.